Hello, guys. Welcome back to a brand new live stream brought to you by Pick a Side. We are here after week 1 of the NFL. It hasn't finished just yet. Tomorrow's the last game, the Jets and 49ers. And man, what a great week 1. The Lions and Rams just played in primetime. That game went into overtime. We got a ton of close games as well. Yes. Thank you, Dels. Heads up play. Recording on the interface, even though the guys in the audience can hear us right now loud and clear. How do you guys feel about week 1? All the games have all but ended.
The 1 o'clock slate was banger after banger after banger. The 4 o'clock games, not the greatest. Not even at all. But the NFL script writers came through for this primetime game. They knew we needed some OT. It's a shame the Rams didn't get to touch the ball, but the Lions were able to clutch up. It was a great opening weekend. We saw great football on Thursday, on Friday, and of course Sunday. Hopefully that trend continues. And for your guys' sake, you guys see some great football tomorrow night.
The Niners show up, man. That's all I'm worried about.
Hopefully you guys show up. However,
don't shit talk
couldn't have asked for more.
Please don't.
I know. It felt like every game except that Saints game. I guess the Giants game too was like one possession. It was going down to the wire. Even the Colts and Texans, I think it might have ended more than one possession, but that was
it was
it was the 2-point game.
Yeah, it was like 29-20 at one point. It was a good ass slate though. I'm happy week 1's here. It's always fun week 1 because you get so many overreactions. You get so many things that, damn, I had Saints fans saying, "Oh, well, what happened?" Adding me in videos. I'm like, bro, y'all beat the fucking Panthers. You know what I'm saying? Like, but no, it was a good week 1.
How do you feel, Riff?
Today I had a good day. You know, I had my game this morning and I walked right in the house and it was football. So I had a good week. Just like Thursday game was amazing. Friday game was amazing for me. I can't speak for others, but it was beautiful to see. And then my one piece, like every team but the Browns literally gave me a good day. Like the teams I like Buffalo, the Texans. Like, it was just, like, a good day for me, just the Browns.
Even the Cardinals, although they didn't end up winning,
they
did well.
No, they were up 17-3.
Yeah, they were waxing them.
I was just like, what is going on? Like,
but you had Josh there, too.
Buffalo at that time only had, like, 2 or 3 possessions. They really didn't even have the ball. So Arizona was just, like, going up and down the field.
Buffalo was kind of trolling. Because early on, they were feeding James. He was eating, and then there was a whole drive. He didn't even come out.
Josh fumbled, and then once he fumbled, Arizona had the ball for like 5 minutes, and I was like, this shit could get bad, so bad. Like,
they gave James Conner an insane amount of touches.
He was playing amazing. I was kind of mad that I didn't draft him in fantasy in some of my leagues.
That's a fact.
That first possession, he was like 4 plays in a row, 6 plays in a row. James Conner.
Now, before we get on to the first segment, a shout out to Prize Picks, which is the sponsor of the Pick a Side podcast. You can use code PAS and go play on Prize Picks. Put in your plays. We definitely had a lot of fun with our plays this past weekend. And moving forward, we will be giving you guys our plays during the full-length episodes. Now, this is a live reaction to week 1 of the NFL. A lot of things happened, but we are trying to talk about as many things while also trying to condense it at the same time. And I think this topic is the perfect way to do that. It's which team that got upset today are you panicking the most about? We have the Cincinnati Bengals, we got the Cleveland Browns, we got the Atlanta Falcons, and it was looking like at one point in time, the Lions might have made that list if the Rams would have beat them, but the Lions clutched it and they won the game in overtime. So which one are you panicking most on?
I got to say, he is a smart man. Think about the wording. Of the teams that got upset the most, which one are you panicking on the most? Now let's just talk about the upsets, because if we were talking about the upsets, we'd obviously be talking about the team that's right behind them, that beautiful orange jersey.
What were the teams you named again?
The Atlanta Falcons lost to the Steelers.
Okay.
The Cleveland Browns, they lost to the Cowboys. They were favored at home.
I think there's only one real upset.
And then the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, the biggest upset of the weekend
by far
was the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's one of the biggest upsets of week 1 in a while. Let's cap. The Bears beat San Fran 2 years ago. That was pretty big.
Trey Lance,
Rainstorm, Mickey Mouse type
Mickey
shit.
Mouse,
Fair.
we're here.
If you look at the odds, the Patriots plus 100, 362 at one time to just win the game outright. It looked juicy. You were thinking, maybe y'all put a little something in there. And watching this game, first of all, let's understand this.
Joe Burrow's dog
shit.
The
Patriots have a great defense. It was great last year. It's going to be great this year. We know that. Keon White, breakout watch, 2.5 sacks he had today. Keon White is a monster. If you think Joe Burrow played bad in this game, you simply don't know what you were watching.
You
and
said
it's simply
no,
as bad.
no.
It simply is.
You told
simple
us
as that.
No, Cook.
2 episodes ago.
Because it doesn't have to do with Joe Burrow.
Jamar Chase don't need to play for y'all to walk through New England. You said that to us. And Dell's even said it upstairs. I agreed with him. So it was like, that's how I knew the statement was like, all right, you were confident. Now all of a sudden, if you watch the game, I don't need to watch the game. You lost to the Patriots.
Why don't you need to watch the game?
You lost to the
I'm
Patriots.
confused. What game did you see? Because the game I saw was the Bengals could not move the ball. They were not able to do anything offensively.
That's just not true. That's just not true. And if you watch the game, they did move the ball. Like
They ran 41 plays of offense.
The Bengals quite literally got down
Burrow
in the
threw for
red
a
zone
buck
multiple
60.
times.
They had
Joe
10
Burrow
points.
threw a touchdown to Mike Gesicki, and
Catch
they
the
labeled
ball.
him out of bounds. He caught the ball, but they labeled him out of bounds because one
he out
of
of
his
bounds?
legs was out. I mean,
No, the corner end zone one, he dropped the ball. He was in bounds, he dropped the ball.
But it was a 50-50 type of call.
They reviewed it. They called it a touchdown. They reversed it.
I know, but it wasn't a clear drop.
No, it was clear because they changed the call.
Okay, but we're talking about Joe Burrow here. Joe Burrow, I mean, that's a great play that he made. Mike Gesicki dropped it.
She was dope.
The very next play,
Great
Drew
play,
Hudson,
incompletion.
I mean, or I think it's Tanner Hudson. He gets the ball in the
fumbled
slant. He's running into the end zone, and he fumbles the ball. Oh, also, the special teams. The Patriots punted after the Bengals got a stop, and the Bengals returned it, and the punt returner fumbled the damn ball, which gifted the Patriots 3 points. And let me not talk about Zach Taylor's fourth quarter decisions. The fourth quarter, they threw a screen to Yoshi Vias, and then the second 4th down play is 4th and 5. You know your defense has not been able to get a stop on Ramondre Stevenson and the Patriots run offense the entire day, and instead of giving the ball to your best player's hands, you decide to punt it and trust your defense. And at that point in time, 1st down, Joe Burrow threw it away. Nobody was open. 2nd down, he threw it to Zach Moss and he dropped it. Would have been a 5-6 yard gain. 3rd play, Zach Moss had a 5-yard gain. So you're talking about if you have both those things happen, that's a 1st down. And then Joe Burrow 4th and 5. You don't trust him to get a 1st down. It was blasphemous. But let's be clear. Let's be clear.
But bro, it's Joe Burrow.
Let's
it
be
shouldn't
clear.
matter what the hell's going on. Like,
Because
you're playing against the Patriots.
what happened when the Patriots almost beat the Eagles and Jalen
Oh,
Hurts
he
last
was
year? Was
geeking
it?
the fuck
The
out.
Eagles were able to move the ball. It was none of this. Where was that then?
It was the Patriots covered. And they covered. They did their thing. And they
They
won
did more,
outright.
they did more than cover today.
Let me tell you
Biggest
guys
upset of
something.
the fucking year, maybe.
2022, the Bengals lost the first game of the season. They went to the AFC Championship game. Since Joe Burrow has got drafted to the Cincinnati Bengals, they have been 1-4 in Week 1 games. Zach Taylor, within the first 2 weeks of the season, is 1-10. Last year, the Bengals started out 0-2, and then the next 7 weeks they went 5-2. If you were really panicking about the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow, you're flat out crazy. I'll tell you.
Here's what we're actually going to panic about. The thing we were really worried about before the season even started, that run defense.
Why am I panicking about
Because
something that I know is bad?
Ramondre Stevenson, a pretty average, maybe above average running back at this point in his career, goes for 120 on the ground, completely dominates. That's what we're concerned about, because our conversation was, if you go out there and you stop Ramondre Stevenson, now we really don't know how to feel, because again, you're the Bengals, it's the Patriots, we're really not moved by that. But if Ramondre Stevenson goes out there and torches you, now we're blaring the sirens. It's time to panic. And that's exactly how we're feeling, because you're going to go up against tougher rush offenses, and it's going to get scary. And if the offense can't score like it did today, which, hey, agreed, it's week 1. Maybe it's not that time to panic on the offensive side because you don't have T. Higgins back.
The offense will be fine eventually.
But Joe Mixon looked missed today.
Oh, and he
Joe
was.
Mixon was eating.
Woo! Houston, he was wilding today.
I thought Zach Moss made some good plays. Chase Brown wasn't really used like that. The Bengals' run defense has been a problem. It was a problem last year. And let me tell you something, Drew. Last year, when the Bengals started out 0-2, and they proceeded to go 5-2 the next 7 weeks, you know their defense was still one of the worst defenses in the league at that point as well.
Can we add some context? Joe Burrow was not healthy entering last season. Once he got healthy, this is when the offense turned around. This is when they started winning games. Burrow was healthy right now. Jamar Chase Yeah, there was an illness, the contract dispute, no T. Higgins. But last season it was different because we knew there was something wrong with the quarterback. There's nothing wrong with anything on this team other than Jamar Chase didn't really play in training camp.
Big deal, though.
T. Higgins is banged up.
Still had a
but it's the
game.
Patriots.
6 for 62 considering he barely practiced at all and he had a stomach virus.
What you're telling me is that last year Joe Burrow was hurt, yes, but this year has been drama filled with the Bengals. I mean, they're in the headlines for the most dumbest reasons.
Really?
Dumbest reasons.
Yes,
Pay your best players.
exactly.
Like Jerry Jones did.
That's a dumb
Shout
reason.
out.
That's a
Jerry.
fact. Look what happened to the Cowboys today. They went out there and they absolutely
the Browns.
dominated.
Look
That's
what
what happens when you take care of
look
your
what
guys.
happened to the team when he thought Nick Sirianni was the problem. This, that, and the
No,
third.
that Nick
And him
Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, they
did
weren't
that,
cool, bro.
And they went out there and they did what? Handle business like you're supposed to. We're not trying to hear that shit about drama. You lost to the Patriots. It's the Patriots.
Micah Parsons and Jamar Chase were in the same draft class, no?
Say
Yes.
They were.
were.
Micah Parsons, he's up for contract
and
too.
Jamar.
But Micah Parsons did not make a big deal about his contract dispute this entire offseason because he knows he's still got 2 years left on his deal. Jamar Chase did.
He's gonna
And
eventually get paid.
There is blame on both sides. The Bengals ownership is historically cheap. They haven't paid Jesse Bates, DJ Reader. They franchise tagged T. Higgins. Historically, it's been a cheap franchise, cheap ownership. And they should pay Jamar Chase. But also, you have to think about this from Jamar Chase's side. How much is he asking for? Is he asking to be paid $40 million a year? If that's the case, I'm kind of having pause about giving him that much money. I'm
pretty sure he wants like 35,
I know
36.
Jamar Chase is a blank check player. I'm fine with giving him $34 million a year, but there has been drama on both sides. No side is blameless. I don't think the Bengals side is blameless. I don't think Jamar Chase is blameless at all. So yes, there has been drama for the Bengals, but ultimately this team, we knew the run defense was going to be bad. Last year, after the 0-2 start, next 7 weeks, their defense was still one of the worst ranked units in the NFL. And if I remember correctly, Drew, you said they were serious contenders at that point with that bad defense, but they still were able to convince you enough because of the offense.
They beat the Niners.
Yes.
They beat the Bills, if
Pretty
I'm
sure
not
their defense had
mistaken,
a good game
also.
against the Niners.
And based off history, in 2022, when they had a slow start to the season, they rattled off 9 straight wins to end the year and then made it to the AFC Championship game. Joe Burrow has given me enough proof in the past for me to think he's fine.
Wrap a ball in this Bengals talk. We're not worried about them in the long term, but
We're not panicking.
it's an embarrassing week
a
one
bad
loss.
loss.
It is
Yes.
it's the worst loss of the slate, and it's not even close.
Yes.
Now we're gonna talk about teams we're actually worried about. I'll start.
It's time to panic, Riv.
The Cleveland Browns, it's full on panic mode because Deshaun Watson is in Daniel Jones, Bryce Young level of bad
be
quarterback play. He had a 9 passer rating. I didn't get to see his time to throw. It has to be 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Nothing is in rhythm. Nothing is easy. He's sitting back there trying to scan the field. He's trying to evade sacks, but he keeps getting sacked. It's always negative plays. It's interceptions. It's fumbles. There was nothing good that came in this offense. And listen, we all love the Cleveland Browns defense. Last year, the best defense in football. They led up 30 to Dallas today, but the offense gave him no fucking chance, right? And I don't know if Joe Flacco is back there, coming in for help, but they have another version of Joe Flacco back there in Jameis Winston. When you give Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed, he has a long leash. But if the Browns, which I think are a smart organization at this point, outside of the Deshaun trade, all could say that's an utter failure. I think the front office, Stefanski, smart guys, they make good moves. In a couple of weeks, if this doesn't turn around, you have to put Jameis Winston in. Because the way Deshaun Watson is playing football right now is not starting level quarterback. It's not even really backup level quarterback. What I was watching was reminiscent of Zach Wilson, where you have an elite roster, an elite defense, you have some weapons on this team, but the quarterback play is so dreadful that you're not going to be able to compete against most teams. The Cleveland Browns, easy. Most team I'm panicked on.
I don't even think you should give him a couple weeks because I feel like this team can win a couple games and he still play like shit. And then you keep because I feel like last year he was 5-1, and because he was 5-1, you have a winning record with him. You kind of the leash gets longer. You know what I'm saying? Because you have that fake quote unquote winning record. But no, he was so bad today, and I felt like. At times, it felt like the defense was like in the first quarter. It felt like the defense was rushing him a little bit, and he just didn't look like Deshaun Watson of old. Then the defense was like, "No, this dude is really ass. Let's give him time and see what he can do." And he's missing Coop. He's missing Judy. Like he just could not get. Like he can't even make throws that are like he can't make nothing in the intermediate area. Deshaun Watson is bad, and he is like the one that's holding this roster back. And they do need to think about putting Jameis Winston in, because I feel like Jameis Winston can give you an average level. And that's all this roster has really needed. We saw from Joe Flacco. He came in, he was pretty good, and they ended up making the playoffs. For this team to make the playoffs, they just need average level quarterback play. And I think Jameis Winston can give you that, but I think he'll give you, at minimum, better than what Deshaun Watson is giving you. He's objectively got worse every single time he stepped on the field. He's gotten worse from last year. He's gotten worse from the year before. And I know he's guaranteed all that money, but you have to start looking at it like, do we want to waste our players like Denzel Ward's prime, Myles Garrett, like Greg Newsome, Zadarius Smith? Do we want to waste these guys' prime, or do we want to try to win games now?
He took 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. They were 2 for 15 on third down.
Yeah, he was awful.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen from a starting level quarterback, or a starting quarterback, period. Forget about starting level, because he's not that right now. His last straw will be week 5. They play against the Commanders. If you do not go out there and torch the Washington Commanders, goes Jaguars. You play the Giants also.
It could be week 3.
Week 4 I'm blanking on, but then week 5 you play the Commanders. If he does not play well against the Commanders, he gets sat down, because the Commanders are going to be one of the worst pass defense in the league. We just saw Baker Mayfield go out there and absolutely torch them, 4 touchdowns. Mike Evans was a dog. Chris Godwin was a dog. And not to discredit the Buccaneers, but we just saw them put on a light show. Deshaun Watson should go out there and at least put on a respectable performance. If he goes out there and he throws for just over 200, he goes and throws for under 200 yards, a touchdown and an interception, that's not good enough. If he's going to play at this level of quarterback, I'm 100% with you, Dels. How can you have him go forward as your quarterback? Take the L. We saw it with Denver. They're eating $80 million in dead cap. They would rather have that than have Russell Wilson be on the team. The Browns made one of the worst mistakes in NFL history. It's all right to accept you were wrong. Take it, move on, and figure it out. Because now, like you mentioned, you're slapping the rest of the guys on the roster in the face, because this roster is extremely talented and it's being completely tarnished by a horrendous quarterback at this point in time.
I love looking back at history, knowing how moves happened and then eventually panned out. I look at the Browns, and they made not only one of the worst moves in NFL history at the time, it wasn't a bad move because we all thought Deshaun Watson was still a great quarterback. But what we don't talk about enough is the insensitivity of the move that they made. And when they were in the midst of making the move, I talked about it ad nauseum. Baker Mayfield just won you your first playoff game in over 20 years. He had a great rookie season. He had a bad second season because of an offensive coordinator who turned head coach of Freddie Kitchens. That was no good. Baker Mayfield's third year, he was really damn good. His fourth year, he was playing through multiple injuries and he struggled. He then bounces around. Now he's finding his footing in Tampa Bay, and the Browns would kill to have a quarterback that's playing at the level of Baker Mayfield. That's how awful Deshaun Watson has been. At the time, they slandered Baker Mayfield. They said that they need an adult in the room at quarterback. And Deshaun Watson, at that point in time, had a bunch of allegations against him. And that's the guy they went out and traded for. And they kicked Baker Mayfield to the curb after all that he's done for that franchise. He came to an organization that had not won a game. And then that very next season, he played really well. And he, I think, finished with 7 wins on a year. And he was tremendous in a not so good situation.
Would you not kick Baker to the curb, though? For Deshaun?
No, I would not. No, I would not.
At
I would
the
have kept
time,
Baker Mayfield.
it was pretty easy. At the
You
time,
sure?
it was easy.
Like at the time, you wouldn't kick Baker to the curb for Deshaun?
When you take into account
Sean
that
was borderline top 5.
when you take into account that Deshaun Watson was going to miss an entire year of football, and also that he was looking for the guaranteed money, because
elite,
mind
though.
you, every team that was interested in trading for Deshaun Watson, the one thing they were not interested in was giving him a fully guaranteed contract. That's a big reason why the Atlanta Falcons pulled out, and those teams were smart to do so. I now look at the Cleveland Browns, and they are a team that should be panicking the most of any team in the NFL, because not only do they have a quarterback that is unplayable, they have a quarterback that is unlikable, but they have a defense last year that was an elite unit. At home, at least, they shut down teams. And now the first game of the season at home, the Cowboys put a ton of points up on you, on your head, and you have multiple misplays in the secondary, and Dak Prescott picks you apart, and a rushing offense that we thought Dallas had nothing of. I mean, they were able to run the ball. They were able to do everything on Cleveland.
Back.
So I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns, and I'm saying not only is your offense terrible, but your defense looks like it's going to take a step back because they're not able to carry this.
I don't know about that one.
This dysfunctional offense with this quarterback that cannot play in the NFL anymore. Deshaun Watson is not a starting NFL quarterback in the league anymore. We have talked about the Browns. The Atlanta Falcons, I think, deserve some panic from this game because you paid Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed. He looked awful. And I will say that I was also concerned about other things that happened in the game. Zach Robinson, new offensive coordinator. 50% of the Falcons' plays were out of pistol.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins never in his career was in an offense that had 10 plays that were in pistol formation in his career. So this is an offensive coordinator that has not designed this offense to Kirk Cousins' strengths. And you see all these dropbacks that he had in that game. TJ Watson was living in the backfield. It doesn't look like they have an offensive line that will be able to consistently protect them. And we all love the Kirk Cousins move because of what it meant for Kyle Pitts and Drake London. And Kyle Pitts may have had a touchdown, but he was a no-show for most of the game. Drake London was a no-show for the entire game. And if the Falcons went all in to win this NFC South, and I think there's a realistic chance they don't win it. I mean, the Buccaneers are still really good. The Saints, I think, are going to be good. I know it's the Panthers, but they just put up 47 points, almost 50 points. And I think the Falcons got some competition, and it's not going to be easy sledding at all.
I think the biggest concern is Kirk Cousins not being at 100%. Because the only reason why you want to run him under under center is because you want him in pistol and shotgun, so you don't have to put, that kind of stress on your legs, on your Achilles. One of the bigger issues they had was they were very predictable. This comes from ESPN Stats and Info. They ran pistol or shotgun 96% of their snaps, so basically every single snap. 22 snaps out of shotgun, the Falcons had 0 design runs. 26 snaps out of pistol, the Falcons ran the ball in 81% of plays. So Zach Robinson, who I was hyping up, I know I'm not the only one coming over from the Rams, was someone we're very high on, especially coming, after Arthur Smith, who had a very up and down career, to say the least, as head coach. We were expecting some creativity from this offense. We were expecting the Rams offense to just translate here because you have some weapons in Kyle Pitts and Drake London and a good back and Bijan in the backfield. But they were the most predictable offense you could think of. If 80% of your runs are coming out of a specific formation, and now you're going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are one of the most talented defense, one of the best coached defense, you don't think at some point they're going to pick up on that? I do think this is it's definitely a tough test for the Falcons, right? Compared to the other teams in their division. The Bucs go up against the Commanders, who had the worst defense in the league last year. The Saints go up against the Panthers, who were the worst team in the NFL last year. And the Falcons go up against one of the grittiest teams in the NFL, and the Steelers, who have one of the best pass rushes, one of the best defense, again, one of the best coached teams. So I do think competition comes into this. But I think the bigger issue is if Kirk Cousins can't do anything under center, or at least to start off the season, that's a bit of a concern because now you're really limiting your offense. We talked about it after Friday's game with Philly, how excited I was to see Jalen Hurts under center some more, because we do see some more explosive plays come out of under center looks. When you're just in shotgun, when you're just in pistol, there's just not many things you get to, especially in the run game. And when you have someone as talented as Bijan Robinson, you want to have as many options as you can when it comes to stretches or counters or powers. When you're just in shotgun or just in pistol, you just don't have as many creative options to get to. So I'm also interested now to see what do the Jets look like tomorrow with Aaron Rodgers, who's also coming off an Achilles. Of course, he got hurt, a month, 2 months before Kirk Cousins, so had some more time to rehab. But that's going to limit your offense. Again, I'm not panicked on the Falcons yet. I still think they're the most talented team in this division, and coming into the season, they had the easiest schedule in the league. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on, because if Kirk can't get back to that, Minnesota Vikings Kirk, you just paid this man a lot of money to, potentially be a league average quarterback.
I keep an eye on is perfectly said, because I'm not panicking on them yet, because I am extremely high on the Steelers defense. And they went out there and did exactly what I anticipated. Go out there and get pressure on Kirk Cousins, make him feel uncomfortable, force him into making some bad decisions. And that's exactly what happened. And the defense won them this game. I'll give some love to Craig Boswell also for
6
putting the
field
team
goals.
on his back.
Goddamn.
Also then going out there and punting the ball. A pretty good punt considering that he's a kicker. But TJ Watt continues to show me that he's the best defensive player in football now that Aaron Donald is gone. He is such a game breaker. The way and the speed that he gets to the quarterback, how he's able to, of course, go and get the ball and force turnovers, going and reading the ball, seeing the balls on the ground, goes and picks up a fumble. The offense is not going to go up against one of the league's best defense every week. It was a rough matchup, especially for trying something new for Kirk Cousins in his career at such a high volume, doing that something that's uncomfortable to him against an amazing defense. Maybe that wasn't the brightest idea, but again, to me, a little of that was to be anticipated. I believe that the Falcons will bounce back inevitably against someone that's not going to be one of the league's best, but again, it's something to keep an eye on, especially with Kirk Cousins rehabbing from or coming back from a torn Achilles.
Yeah, I just think watching the Steelers defense, like you mentioned, they're one of the best defenses in football. And, when you talk about the NFC, I don't think the Eagles defense is close. I don't think Detroit's defense is close. Maybe the Niners, but the Niners don't have that same grit and that same physicality that Pittsburgh offers just defensively. They're on a different level. So I don't think any of these teams can make them look just as bad with the way that, like, the Steelers really just shut them the fuck down. But what I do think the difference is between Atlanta and these other teams is just the amount of offense the amount of offensive talent that these other teams has as opposed to Atlanta. Just the amount of creativity in their offensive game plan. I mean, you got the Eagles with Saquon, AJ. You got Detroit, they got Goff, they got the 2 running backs, they got Amon-Ra. You got the Niners, they got CMC, they got Ayuk, they got Debo. With Atlanta, it's still We love Drake London, but he still has to be proven. Kyle Pitts, we love his talent, but he still has to be proven. B. John's an up-and-coming running back. And then Kirk Cousins, who is, the oldest of the bunch coming off an injury. The offensive line is still up for question. I mean, Pittsburgh just made that offensive line look disgusting. But once again, Pittsburgh does make you look a little worse than other teams can. But I think with Atlanta, easy schedule, yeah. You might look at them and think they're going to win a ton of games, but just looking at them stacking up against these other teams in the NFC, I always felt like they were a little bit lower than these teams just because they lacked the talent. But I wouldn't panic too much because, like I said, I don't think any of those teams in the NFC South would do good against Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh will pretty much lock all those teams up. So I'm cool on Atlanta, but I'm definitely keeping my eye out for them.
Their next game they play is Monday Night Football in Philadelphia.
They will lose.
They maybe will lose, but I'm expecting their offense to look good against Philadelphia.
If they don't look good agaast Philly, now we have really
100% agree.
They won't look good.
If your offense does not look good, especially your rush offense does not look good, we have concerns.
Now, John shared a stat in the group chat that the Falcons averaged 1 yard per play in the second half. And when you pay a quarterback $100 million, that cannot happen.
One what?
1 yard per play.
The Steelers defense absolutely.
Oh my God, that stat makes it sound so much worse.
But bro, there's talent on every level. The Steelers defense is going to be one of the best.
Even the touchdown they let up, Kyle Pitts was just wide the fuck open.
Mind you,
in
they
the end
had
zone.
penalties that took away some of their turnovers and some of their.
I was
going
to say TJ got into the
maybe.
backfield, got the ball, and apparently was offside.
Strip sack, fumble, and recovered, and it was offside. It was offside, but
for sure. But
it was close.
Yeah, Atlanta just, I don't know. They're good, but just the lack of talent. They have one receiver.
They were playing Pittsburgh's offense, but the defense didn't look bad.
No,
Didn't look bad at all.
I think
Pittsburgh.
Shout out to Grady Jarrett coming back. He looked very good in his first game back.
I think against the Steelers offense, a lot of defenses should look good.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'm not moved
100%.
about what they did.
Najee went for 20 attempts, 70 yards.
3.5 a carry.
And I didn't even think Najee played
Mid-season
terrible.
form.
I thought he played all right.
Jalen Warren,
some good
I think
runs,
Jalen Warren definitely still limited by that hamstring. He only had a handful of
Pickens looked awesome.
Yeah, OG. He's a dog.
Yeah.
Now, there was much anticipation for the rookie quarterbacks that were going to start in week 1. Caleb Williams being touted as a generational prospect. Jaden Daniels, the 2nd overall pick. Bo Nix, the 12th pick in the draft. We can start with Caleb Williams, who went 14 for 29, 93 yards, 3.2 yards per attempt, and a 55.7 passer rating.
Forgot one stat. W.
There
we go.
1-0. And he's the first quarterback that was at the first overall to win their debut since 2002.
He had nothing to do with it.
Yes. And in watching this game, I was pretty annoyed because I picked the Titans to win outright.
Up 17-0 in this game.
Yes. They were up 17-0. At halftime, it was 17-3.
Comeback from behind victory for Caleb, too. We can't
Straight
forget that.
defense.
And special teams.
Yeah, defense at 14 points.
The way the Titans lost this game, it made me sick. A pump block that got taken for a touchdown. Will Levis fumble that led to a field goal. And then the Bears were able to have some offensive drives that led to field goals. But that's because the Titans were not able to do anything offensively at all. And they just kept punting, and the Bears got great field position. And then Will Levis throws a pick six to Tyreek Stevenson. And then the Bears convert a 2-point conversion. This was one of the ugliest victories that I've seen. Caleb Williams, I did not think would look this raw in his first game as a pro. I thought the way he handled the pocket, I thought the way he took certain sacks was a bit alarming. There were throws that he missed that I think he'll make next time he's on the field, probably just some nerves around him. But I also didn't like Shane Waldron's play calling, and it's something that I talked about in the preseason. Whenever the first team Bears offense went out there, they looked very sluggish. And a lot of Bears fans made excuses. It's just the preseason. Nah, they don't care. Oh, they're vets. Oh, they're going to figure it out in the regular season. It doesn't look like a game one. And I think the Titans defense is going to be good. I don't think they're going to be holding a quarterback to less than 100 yards passing good, though. Because there was a lot of plays that Caleb just missed, and I thought there was a lot of also bad play designs, and DeAndre Swift had one huge run, but for the most part, they didn't help the offense out on the ground all that much. This game was won because the Titans just could not do anything offensively, and if Will Levis doesn't have a couple of bounce back performances, my confidence in him after this game, after seeing how he lost the Titans this game, has completely went down to zero. The least that I'm giving him now is only a couple weeks. If you play like this and it's week 4, I'm calling it Mason Rudolph.
Mason motherfucking Rudolph.
And I'm calling him to get the keys to this offense and start doing something maybe. Will Levis was just so terrible in this game. There's just no reason you lose a game like this. The Titans could have went 3 and out for the rest of the game and just punted, and I think they would have won. That's how bad the Bears offense was in that game. And we are talking about Caleb Williams, so you guys can give your thoughts on Caleb in his debut. What did you think?
I mean, it's a lot of what everyone's going to say. 93 yards, sloppy, inaccurate. The pocket presence wasn't great. Usually you see him in his plate making, and usually that is a positive. Today was a negative. He took an extremely bad sack where he breaks out of one tackle.
Why didn't he throw it away? It was beyond me.
I think once you broke out of the first tackle, then you're kind of just scrambling and you're just so locked in that moment. He didn't have time to throw it away. But overthrowing Keenan Allen did have a drop that would have been a touchdown too. Just he couldn't get on the same page with his receivers. Just the offense as a whole just simply did not look good. You have to give a lot of credit to the Bears defense. That's something that I do want to do. But again, when we're talking strictly about these rookie performances, not an ideal start to Caleb Williams' career. However, there is a little bit of positive because you won. It's at least a good feeling that you can go home with, hey, I didn't play well, but the team picked me up. I'm the number 1 overall pick. There's some expectations on my shoulders, no doubt.
Was this an F performance?
Yes.
Yeah.
No trolling. What did the Bears defense actually do?
Got a pick 6.
Did they get a pick 6, or did Will Levis is just so bad that he just
they were also.
I've seen a lot of dropped interceptions.
They were also,
but the shit he was throwing, it was like you really can't drop what he was throwing.
But they were getting pressure on Will Levis too. They did a great job of limiting the run game after the first half.
I don't think they played so great to where they because I think the Titans just like you mentioned, really just gave the game away. Like one of his interceptions was so easy to catch. It was no way you could drop it. I feel like a lineman could have caught that shit and it still would have been fine.
Listen, I've seen some floaters and it just goes right through the defender's hand. They play defense for a reason.
Will was just so bad.
Oh no, he was horrendous. And he definitely gave the game away, similar to when we talked about the Eagles and the Packers, except this time the Bears actually took the game and won it. But end of the day, you have to go out there and execute and make the plays that are. If they're given to you, you got to still go out there and make them. And the Bears did that, and they capitalized and stole this game.
I mean, I agree with Riv. I mean, the Bears defense made some big-time plays, but Will Levis gift-wrapped them for that.
Chicago's offensive line is a little funny, too. It's funky.
I mean, Will Levis should be in this kind of rookie discussion, right? He only started a handful of games last year. The fact that the biggest questions coming into this year was accuracy. You complete less than 60% of passes. It's taking sacks. You take 3 sacks. It's about the turnovers. You have 3 turnovers in this game. There's really nothing you could take away from this game that makes you feel better about Will Levis. Now, again, when Mason Rudolph is your backup, who last season was one of the best backups in the league, you're a second-round pick. This is a different coaching staff. The leash isn't like it is for obviously Caleb Williams and Jaden, these guys we're talking about a little bit later. So if he has a couple more of these games where he has some really bad turnovers, you blow 17-0 leads, especially when you had a running game going. Tony Pollard, I thought looked pretty damn good, especially second half of last year when he said he was fully healthy, continued that into this season. We know D-Hop wasn't at 100%. Don't know if he ever will be coming off that torn MCL, but at a minimum, Will Levis has to play complimentary football. And that was my biggest concern entering this year for the Titans was it felt like you kind of had a team where if you have a game manager at quarterback, all right, maybe you could get 8-9 wins. It's a really tough division. It's a tough conference. But when you have a guy like Will Levis who could have some really high highs like we saw last season or some really low lows like we saw today, you could have a 17-0 lead. And if you had Mason Rudolph in there, you probably win that game. So it's definitely difficult. I'll talk about Caleb. He looked like shit. I thought he looked, obviously, but I thought more than anything, he just didn't look comfortable. He almost looked more comfortable in the preseason, which is just kind of weird. I guess it is your first real game. The stats matter. The numbers matter.
He never likes confidence.
He does say that. He says, "I'm always prepared, so I'm never nervous."
Never nervous he didn't have to say that.
He didn't. He looked nervous today, that's for sure. It felt like a lot of this stuff too just could have been avoided. Just a lot of time holding on the ball too long, trying to make plays happen that just weren't there. A lot of like Deshaun Watson-esque stuff where he's just out behind the line of scrimmage looking for something when he should throw it away or he should just get down or anything along those lines instead of all the negative plays that he happened. But at the end of the day, he's 1-0. I think he'll be a hell of a lot better going forward. The Keenan Allen touchdown miss definitely hurts a little bit, make the stat line look a little bit better. But overall, wasn't really able to connect on anything. The run game really wasn't able to get going. Nope. DeAndre Swift led the way, but he wasn't efficient. None of the receivers, DJ Moore, Rome, or Keenan Allen, no sort of real connection with those guys there. So I think, of course, right, this is going to take time. It's a rookie quarterback. You have a new offensive coaching staff in there. So I wasn't expecting them week one to go up there and score 35 points, but I wasn't also expecting Caleb Williams to have less than 100 yards.
Yeah, you weren't expecting all of these players that you probably drafted in fantasy to have terrible performances. I mean, I drafted DJ Moore. He gave me 2 points. And that ruined my week for me. Caleb Williams, I think there's some protection with him right now with how people talk about him because there's so many people that are enamored with him and what he can be. And he's very talented. And I say this because Bill Belichick now has a new show and he talks about a lot of the trending topics in the NFL. And when he talked about Caleb Williams and his preseason performance, and he was not impressed by it because really it wasn't impressive. There were some plays that were dazzling, but for the most part, when you look at it as a whole, it wasn't really impressive. Everybody's saying, oh, Bill Belichick is terrible. Oh, this is why he drafted Mac Jones and all this other stuff, trying to attack Bill Belichick's credibility like there's anything to attack. I mean, this guy's the greatest head coach in the history of the NFL. And that was when he voiced his opinion. But then we see the first week of the season, I mean, Bill Belichick was right. I mean, all those things that he alluded to about the accuracy, about those concerns, they were 100% factual. And there's a lot of people that when you draft a new quarterback and this is like the new kid on the block, they're very protective. Anything that says that's negative is like, oh, he holds on to the ball. Oh, that'll get fixed. That'll be good. I mean, these are serious things that Caleb has to fix. And I don't think that it's a realistic expectation to put on the Bears for Caleb Williams to lead this team to the playoffs if we just saw this performance. Now, do I think he will be better? Yes. But off this first game and off the games that you've seen, his down games in college where he was sporadic with his accuracy, there is something to keep an eye out for. And this is not just the second coming of Jesus Christ, a quarterback.
Brother, I'm going to talk about the Colts and the Texans in a little bit, but I really want you because I feel like when we talked about the Titans choking a game, we forgot one other team that kind of choked another game, which led to, one of your teams getting a W.
Got it.
So I want you to just, because I know you watched that game from top to bottom,
the whole
start to finish. I want you to just break down what happened in that game, because I just feel like that game was going to get swept under the rug.
We have like three other quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's a rookie quarterback.
I'll be honest. Bo Nix, you can talk about him too, but I really want you to lock in on that game.
Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels.
Now, Drew,
I'm going to say this. You're trying to bless me.
Just want to make sure you get your love out here, bro.
That's real bro shit because, you're trying to bless me in more ways than one. You're trying to bless me by allowing me to talk about the Miami Dolphins, who had at one point an 8% chance of winning that game. But what you're also trying to do is get me out of explaining what the hell happened today in Seattle. Because Bo Nix was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't. Listen, you had a bad day, and the Miami saved you.
I really didn't have a bad day. Won 11 games out of the 15 played.
For your main team.
But the main teams, I guess the Lions won, Broncos lost. That was expected.
Bo Nix was horrible. That was really the main.
You said Bryce Young was going to break out.
I ignored that.
I did.
I don't even.
I did. I thought he'd be better than he was last year. I mean, fucking
was the same dude.
No, he was the same exact
He
guy.
threw a pick six his first play.
No,
Interception.
pick. Yeah.
Interception.
But he did have 2 INTs. But
Both terrible.
Bo Nix. Let's
him.
talk about this real quick.
Talk about Anthony
Because he's not good.
I'm gonna get there. He's a funny guy.
He's a rookie too.
I have an
First
analogy for
game,
him.
not the best matchup in my opinion. Going up against Seattle with, of course, Mike McDonald, new head coach, who is an early candidate for Coach of the Year. Didn't really see that yet, but
Are you making things
I
up?
think that was just he just threw that out there.
they got a lot of pressure on Bo Nix, and obviously he looked flustered. It was his first game. He definitely didn't look accurate. Definitely was pressing. But also, I would say that the wide receivers didn't help him out, not even a little bit. The lack of separation that we see from the wide receivers is truly sad. No, I mean, yeah. Listen,
Let him get into it. Let him get into
Gotta
it.
start chuckling.
I'm here not laughing. I'm not lying. Bo Nix was bad. Our skill position players are still some of the worst in the league.
What was he bad at?
Everything.
I mean, decision making, accuracy wasn't good.
His best trait was his athleticism.
Pocket presence.
The pocket presence wasn't good, and usually that was supposed to be a strength of his.
he worse?
He bails out of the pocket pretty quickly, but at the same time, he was pretty athletic and he was looking pretty mobile. What was your question?
Both cadets.
Was he worse than Caleb?
I think they're both cadets.
No.
Yes.
No,
Absolutely.
no.
He was.
Caleb has Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and
both-
could not do
they're both-
fucking
I don't
They're
care
both
about
really
that
bad.
because
He had 93
I don't care
yards.
about that. Caleb Williams did not have.
And the Titans
120?
defense, no, 130 something.
brother.
No, terrible. 42 attempts, 130
100
yards.
is 100.
No, 42 attempts, 130 yards.
Never
Caleb
mind,
Williams
never
did not have the bad decision making that Bo Nix had. You know, this is how I view.
Should
Bo
have had
Nix.
5 picks. He threw 2. Should have had 5. Was sacked twice also.
5 turnover-worthy plays.
You know, Drew, I understand that you draft a quarterback, you get hyped for it. I've known that feeling all too well with Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Mark Sanchez. There's a lot of quarterbacks, Geno Smith, Bryce Petty. There's a lot of guys that I've had.
Should
some
I get
hope
into
for.
mine?
Bryce Petty.
Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock. Now we got, of course,
Shout out to Bryce Petty,
inevitable-
man.
Whenever you
Christian
draft a
Hackenberg.
quarterback, any team, you know the feeling. There's hope. There's faith that this guy can be good. This is the issue with Sean Payne drafting Bo Nix. He was a 5-year starter at Oregon, and at Oregon, he was a system quarterback. He ran that system great, but he didn't have a lot of attempts down the field. He was peppering the field with throws behind the line of scrimmage, or at the line of scrimmage, and that's why his completion percentage was so high. Sean Payne gives him this cosign that now hypes him up, and because Sean Payne once thought Patrick Mahomes was a great prospect and wanted to take him, now we're saying, oh, Sean Payne sees something in Bo Nix. This guy's accuracy, decision-making, arm strength, all these things. He's wowing Sean Payne with his knowledge of the game. All this other stuff, you think about it, and you're like, you're buying into this guy. And hell, me too, because I thought Sean Payne if he can have Russell Wilson at 26 passing touchdowns, I think he could do some good work with Bo Nix, somebody who was, thought of as somebody that was not going to play a similar style of football as Russell Wilson. But now that we see the first game, it looks a lot like Russell Wilson, even a lesser extent, I would say, because the lack of ball security isn't even there. It is just one game, right? I want to say that. But I also want to say, if you meet somebody for the first time and
Here's the analogy.
you get a whiff of them and they smell, the next time I see them, I'm going to think they stink too. And Bo Nix has these are some stats that are mind-blowing. Bo Nix averaged 3.3 yards per attempt on 42 passes. That is tied for the 6th lowest yards per attempt in any game with at least 40 pass attempts since the merger. Bo Nix on throws over 10 air yards, 2 for 12 for 42 yards and 2 interceptions. And those 10 incompletions, half of them were near interceptions. Every quarterback that has thrown 42 plus attempts with 138 or fewer yards in NFL history, according to StatHead, Bo Nix, nearly 40-year-old Ben Roethlisberger, and Jesse Palmer. this debut was so underwhelming. It was so bad because Bo Nix looked like Nathan Peterman in the first half. And when Bo Nix does not have the traits of a high-level starting quarterback, a guy who can one day be top 10, you're hoping that Bo Nix can at least be a game manager. And in his first game as a rookie, yes, I know it's his first game, but he was a 5-year starter at Oregon. He should be day one ready, making sound decisions. And he played one of the worst games. Even throws that were there to be made, they were inaccurate. He didn't make them. I mean, the Seahawks basically gifted them amazing field possession on every single drive, and they were unable to capitalize. And I say all that to say, Bo Nix, to me, this one game was enough for me to say, I think the Broncos are going to be looking for a new quarterback in the near future. This isn't going to last long.
So Caleb Williams, that's it. Terrible quarterback.
No, he's young.
Does his whiff stink? Does he stink? Is he a part of the whiff?
Yes, he should be.
It does stink a little bit. It does stink a little bit. But I feel like Caleb Williams was somebody that you just got out the gym. You didn't really clean
he just
up.
Had some Taco Bell, maybe.
I'm over here. Okay, there's a reason why you stink. Bo Nix, he took a shower. He's ready, and I'm like, you still don't smell that good. You have the coordinator, you have the head coach that we say is a quarterback guru. You got a good offensive line. Yes, I understand. Everybody around him didn't play the best. I thought Sean Payton. Bringing down the team to prop up Bo Nix showcased to me an insecurity in Sean Payton that he does not want to look wrong. He does not want to look wrong. I mean, he took blame
for himself also. He said the coaches let him down, the players let him down. He tried to keep. Yeah, he's a coach.
Coaches and I different. Coaching that sounds like coaching staff to me.
That being said,
offensive coordinator.
That being said, with him playing bad, 1-score game.
Seattle looked bad.
They did.
The first half, especially, Seattle looked like dog shit.
Seattle did not look great.
They got 2 safeties.
But our defense...
Very not win the division vibe.
I want to give a lot of credit to our defense and our defensive line. We really made Geno work. We pressured him in an insane amount.
It was first down on the 1-yard line, run out of shotgun. I was like...
It just made me happy, especially for all the people that said our defense last year was fluky, to come out here week 1 and go out there and put a great performance.
I think the concern with Bo Nix is... I'm not going to go as far to Joel say, but definitely you're a 5-year starter in college. You're supposed to come out and be polished and be NFL ready.
Definitely less excited.
And he wasn't ready week 1. I think the other concern you have is the coach is there, Sean Payton's there, but at the end of the day, it's Courtland Sutton. It's nothing, and that's not going to change, right? Like it seems like a long shot to me that this Broncos team that is probably going to be pretty bad is going to make a move at the trade deadline or in week 4 or 5 and be like, no, we need to get Bo Nix another weapon that actually makes a difference. So you're probably running the majority of this season with Courtland Sutton as your 1 and praying to God someone as your wide receiver 2 can be like a below average league wide receiver. That's the bigger issue. It's just that Bo Nix, I think, in a system would work. Bo Nix with the San Francisco 49ers, when you have all of that talent, he'd probably be passable. But when you put him in a situation where it's borderline dreadful, where you have a good coach, but that's really the only thing you have going for you, it's going to be tough. And when you get picked number 12 overall and not number 1 overall, when you're not hyped up as this like raw prospect, like a guy like Anthony Richardson, who has all this physical ability, but you need to fine tune some of the accuracy stuff, that's when people are shorter on you. When you don't get as long of a leash because we kind of know what you are already, right? It's a matter of can you make the throw or can you not make the throw. The other guys, it's just they just have more things going for them physically, and Bo Nix just isn't as gifted as a quarterback as some of those other guys. So I don't think he's going to be as bad as what he saw today, right? I don't think he's like out of the league type bad of quarterback, but I don't think he showed me enough physically that makes me think like, oh, this is a franchise quarterback by any means.
Bo Nix without Sean Payton is out the league. Is that what you're saying? Is that
hey, listen.
Is that what you're getting
Bo
at
Nix
here?
without Sean Payton might have not won in the first round.
Bo Nix without Sean Payton is getting drafted number 13. He's getting drafted to the Las Vegas Raiders.
You think?
Yes, I do. I think
I'll be honest, brother. If the Raiders want you, that's usually not a great sign. Although Brock Bowers looked good today.
I kind of think they was just fine with Michael Penix. I think if Sean Payton didn't draft Bo Nix, he would have went to the second round or later on in the draft.
I thought you were high on Bo.
Listen, I think Bo Nix.
No, because this guy doesn't know what he wants to his mind to be.
He was in on Bo Nix for like a day or two, and that was it.
Because you look at Bo Nix, the numbers look great.
The college numbers were fake, though.
There's some throws that he made that were great. But then when we dive deeper into the film, it's like, okay, a lot of these things are not that
It wasn't no
transferable.
diving deep. It was every game. He was doing the same thing every time.
I know, but I'm saying you look at that and you're like, I don't know how much of this is transferable. This is a game manager, and you are drafting him to be a franchise guy. Now, you might not have a franchise quarterback, Drew, but what today did show me with the Broncos is that you got a goddamn franchise punt unit, special teams unit. The way they pinned back the Seahawks at the 1 yard line every single drive in the first half.
Cooking.
Oh, that led to some safeties by,
For sure.
for that defense.
We almost had 3 safeties in one game. We were a yard short away. First time to happen since 1980 something.
That goddamn punt unit. That,
we were cooking.
That special teams unit. That's something to look forward to.
We
It was special,
just
no pun
feel
intended.
pretty underwhelmed by these rookie quarterback debuts.
Outside of
Jaden wasn't
Jaden.
bad.
Outside of Jaden.
Jaden was all right.
I will admit,
70% completion, 2 rushing touchdowns.
But he wasn't nothing like he wasn't doing nothing crazy.
Well, the Commanders aren't
Yeah.
a good team.
No, I agree.
One thing I will say, the only thing, and the broadcast brought it up as well, surprised there was no deep shots or not more deep shots taken. That was one of his strengths, especially in college, letting that deep ball fly.
I feel like they'll let it go. Like towards the week 3, week 4, they'll start doing that. But
Yeah,
like
Terry
Caleb
was
was
barely-
garbage. Drake is not going to play for some time. Bo Nix was shit. Like
What'd
Jaden
you
was
guys
cool.
think of Jaden?
Jaden was cool, but
I thought
like
he was,
everybody else,
considering rookie debut, underdog heavily, I thought it was a good performance.
So you definitely saw more rushing aspect.
I love
from
the
the
athleticism.
passing. Yeah.
But one concern is I think he was bailing out of the pocket a little too soon, which was a concern, like you have mentioned earlier in the process as well, Joel. And I saw that a little bit today, but he looked great, and he was making positive plays out of it at the minimum. It wasn't as if he was just taking off and he was getting stuff near the line of scrimmage. No, he was making plays happen. And he was safe with his throws. Again, 70% completion percentage, threw for under 200 yards, but keep it clean. That's okay, especially in your first game being played.
I don't know if you
don't
want
want to do too much.
16 carries every game from him.
Yeah.
But I do think to
16
start
for
off
8, around that 80
yeah.
facts.
Like he was efficient. He had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. To
brother
start
was
off his
running.
career, I think we'll definitely see more running start off his career. I feel like we've seen that in the past with guys like Kyler Murray. When you're so athletic, like it's easier in the beginning of your NFL career, in my opinion at least, to win with your athleticism than winning in the pocket from like a mental point of view and a physical point of view. So Jaden Daniels is so damn athletic. He hit 20 miles an hour one of his runs today, that he's going to be able to do that to start off his career. But as we've seen throughout, NFL history, that can't be the way you win, right? You need to learn to win from the pocket. And Daniels has that in him. But of course, this first game, it was a lot of, get out of the pocket. There were some design runs at the goal line too. He's taking a lot of big hits, around that goal line from
a
that
skinny
Tampa Bay
dude, bro.
defense.
he's
He's
eating
a
them.
skinny guy. That's a good point though.
Dude
He's a
like
skinny
me.
guy. Like he should be getting down. He should not be getting hit on those plays.
Jaden Daniels, to me, he was the most impressive. I mean, it wasn't a high bar to clear. But this is the thing. When prospects have red flags about them, usually you need something to cancel that out. Okay, if let's, for example, Anthony Richardson, right? His accuracy is something that you worry about sometimes. But he has the arm to make up for those plays that are inaccurate. With Jaden Daniels, the pocket presence isn't that good, but he has the athleticism to break out the pocket and go for big gains and keep drives alive. And that's something to his advantage. I thought this game he was very calm. He was accurate, 17 for 24, 184 yards, 93 passer rating, and then he also ran for 88 yards and had 2 touchdowns. I thought he played pretty damn composed against the Todd Bowles defense that they were sending some pressure against him. He did miss a deep shot to Terry McLaurin, and they could have connected on that if Jaden was more accurate. I do like Cliff Kingsbury's offensive design because he does protect his quarterbacks, and I think it helps a lot for a rookie quarterback. Now, in the long run, Kingsbury's very predictable, and that's why his teams get figured out. But in the short term, he is protecting Jaden. He's not letting him go out there and put him in a position to fail. And that's something I can admire from Cliff Kingsbury. But Jaden Daniels does have that type of game-breaking talent that a lot of those concerns I have about him, they can be negated because of the big-time playability that he has on a down-to-down basis.
What was your Anthony Richardson comparison?
He's a funny guy, man. I had it and then I lost it. He's just like, I was watching him and it was just like one play I was like, bro, this guy's fucking trash. And then the next play I'm like, nah, he's the greatest player I've ever seen. Like he just
Carson Wentz?
Huh?
Carson Wentz?
No, why would you say Carson Wentz?
Mo from Maz Outsider said he's Cam Newton.
No.
I mean, physically,
Physically, he's a big dude.
Dante Culpepper?
I didn't watch.
I thought you had like an NBA. I thought you were gonna call him like Russell Westbrook or some shit.
No, he ain't Russell Westbrook.
Let me ask you a question. I need the stats on how many air yards the pass was. I need it.
Oh,
He's just like
60 something.
He's just mad inconsistent.
70.
If you
That's
told me
really
it was
is
70 in
inconsistent.
the air, I'd believe it.
He had hold on. What was the
It
stat?
felt like the longest pass I ever seen in my life.
it
was-
was really fucking high.
He was one of over the past 5 years. He was one of 3 quarterbacks to have 20 plus dropbacks and an average depth target over 16.
What?
Yes, his average depth target was 16.4.
No, his deep throw
today.
It
is
sucks because the highs of AR today were insanely high. The lows were low. The lows were low.
I think he's one of those players where it's just gonna be like that. Like his highs are gonna be like extremely great. He's gonna have those moments where he trips, he sees a defender, he's just like, "Fuck it, you're down there, throw it."
But I'm fine with that. But at a point when it comes to the intermediate, you have to be composed. You can't just keep letting a ripper go every single time, and then that fucks up your accuracy.
I don't think he wasn't composed. I just think he's just not good at those passages.
Like set your feet, deliver a strike, an
he's
accurate
always
ball.
on his footwork needs. He's always on the move. I like him though. I see
For sure.
I see the allure in him. I see why everybody's fantasized about him. I see why everybody like
a good way to
really
put it.
adores him. And
You
stuff
cracked
like
me up when you're just like, he's not a good
No,
passer.
because like he's really like it's just like in the intermediate and the short. He's really not.
I
good.
only
He
laughed
was
at
9
it
of
because
19.
yeah,
220
facts.
Yeah, like the big play. No, the deep ones he can do, but like those he really just cannot do
It's
them.
like again, and it's not fair to any quarterback ever to get compared to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen had a rocket for an arm.
Yes.
The main reason why he was drafted because he had a rocket and he was a big body also. He had a pretty great build to him. That kind of came out after extra, and that was just kind of the cherry on top. But why they loved him was because he had a one-of-one arm. But you trusted the process, even though the first 2 years he was bottom of the league 2 years in a row in completion percentage. In his third year, he obviously broke out, and it's not fair to compare anyone to that. But AR has one of the best arms in the league already. The strongest, I should say. Not
It
the
was
best.
65 air yards, third longest in next gen stats history.
No, you definitely build
And that
around
was like with pressure in his face.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because he'll do that, but then it's like no
He missed
pressure in
80
his face.
Mitchell twice on a wide open
Yeah, it's
touchdown.
no pressure, and he can't make an intermediate pass. So it's like, what the fuck am I
Shout out
supposed to
to
do
AD
with
Mitchell.
you,
He
bro?
had himself a solid
Yeah,
ball
look
game.
really
AD
good.
Mitchell was dope.
Is inconsistent, but he's a big play when it happened. I think he's going to be a star. Now, this segues into the next segment perfectly. This is Pick a Side Player Spotlight. We're all going to give a player or multiple players that we want to really mention and give a player spotlight on them. I know, Dels, you're probably going to mention Anthony Richardson. Is that one of your guys that you're going to mention?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll segue you into it to give you another stat. Anthony Richardson is the 5th quarterback to have multiple completions of 50-plus air yards in a game since 2006. Now, you can go on and talk about AR more.
Anthony Richardson's going to be a superstar. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Nope.
We have to figure out the easy ones. That's all it has to do. But this dude makes some of the hardest throws that I've ever seen a quarterback make. The fact that he can throw a 65-yard bomb more or less on the dot to Alec Pierce with pressure in his face.
I think he did it twice.
Yes, he did do it twice. What second time was 65 yards? First one was.
Second
But
was probably like
multiple
40.
big time throws. He impacts the game that most quarterbacks can't impact the game like, right? You can only have 9 completions and you could go over 200 yards. We just saw Bo Nix have 42 attempts and didn't clear 140 yards. I mean, the upside of Anthony Richardson is through the moon. We've known this, but I still think the concerns around him where people doubt him are still going to be there because today he still completed less than 50% of his passes, maybe right at 50% of his passes. He still had turnover-worthy plays. He was still wildly inaccurate. I mentioned the 2 missed touchdowns to AD Mitchell. One of the interceptions he had over the middle of the field was just a wildly inaccurate ball. The receiver was open on a crosser. He threw the ball 4 or 5 yards in front of him. The defensive back safety was able to go and intercept it. But what we saw from Anthony Richardson today is everything we were hoping for. And when he's been able to start and finish games, this Colts offense has been insane. Jonathan Taylor, the run game wasn't as efficient as I was expecting it to be. The one area I wish I could see more from this Colts offense is getting JT involved in the passing game. And what we see usually from rushing quarterbacks is they typically don't check the ball down because they are so mobile, they are so athletic that in the backfield, they feel like they can make guys miss and make something happen. But Jonathan Taylor is probably the best offensive weapon they have on this team. So if they could get him more involved, I'm sure Shane Steichen is thinking of ways to get him involved right now because when he's having an inefficient game on the ground, that doesn't mean you should go away from him. That doesn't mean mean he shouldn't be involved in the offense. So I would like to see that be more involved going forward, because this Colts offense with Anthony Richardson, the sky's the limit. This is top 5 potential type offense. You have AD Mitchell, who's consistently getting open. We know Michael Pittman is one of the more consistent wide receivers. And Josh Downs, when he was healthy last year, was one of the best rookie wide receivers in football, and he's banged up right now. So I thought Anthony Richardson, all in all, first game back from that shoulder surgery, first game back. This is still like his fucking 18th game starting since high school. I thought he looked phenomenal today.
The players I want to highlight are 2 of my guys. It's that simple. First one, shout out to Amon-Ra, who was able to catch a W today and obviously draw the attention away from the field to talk about my other guy, Jameson Williams. The real always knew, the real always believed. You just had to trust the process, especially when you're going through as much as he had. Knee injury, then he goes hamstring injury, then he goes suspended for 6 games for gambling. It's like the guy can catch a break.
Damn.
And now finally, this was the season he was going to put it all together. 5 catches, 9 targets. That's what I love the most. 9 targets, heavily involved in this offense. Goes for over 120 and a bomb touchdown. Jared Goff underthrew him. Didn't matter. He was still able to track it and get into the end zone. Also being used in the backfield, getting him out in space. We saw that a little bit in the playoffs last season against the Niners, where he was able to take one to the crib. Saw that a little bit today versus the Rams. We're here. Finally, Jameson puts it all together when we finally see a breakout season from Jameson. And the last player I have to shout out, J.K. Dobbins. I couldn't be more happy for a guy, truthfully. A guy who has gone through as much adversity as him in terms of staying on the field, a torn ACL, a torn Achilles, to come back game 1, 10 carries, 135 yards, 13.5 a carry. He was unbelievably great today. And doing it in, of course, the Chargers offense, where you understood that that's what they wanted to do. Their mindset was, we're going to be a heavy rush offense that will set up, of course, Justin Herbert in the play action pass. But to be as dominant as he was in that second half, I said I believe he's the most talented running back on this team and on this roster. He just needs that opportunity. And in day 1, in limited opportunity, he showed it.
I think just want to give a little love to the Colts defensive line, though, because I thought they did make C.J. Stroud look as rattled as I've ever seen him. And Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, they really kept that team in the game. 2 guys I want to highlight. I watched a shit ton of football today. Joe Alt on the Chargers. I mean, like, bro, he
locked up your boy.
Like I had to lock in for my boy Max. I had to lock into that Raiders game. Plus, I got stock on the Chargers like failing. So I was watching them play, and just Joe Alt 1-on-1. Like, I think he had like 11 1-on-1 situations with Max Crosby, no pressures. I mean, he put Crosby in jail as better than we've ever seen it. Like, and this is a rookie. Your first game in, like, against one of them dudes, like one of them top 5, top 7 dudes in the league. And Joel was able to do his thing 1-on-1 by himself. And I thought that was impressive. And that, like, really helps the Chargers down the road, just because having a cornerstone on that offensive line. So shout out to Joel.
Now they have 2. Sean Slater and now Joel.
Shout out to Joel. He played his game. He did his thing for sure. And I think with him, it's going to be interesting to see, because the Chargers offense in the beginning, they started off a little slow.
Oh, what
First
the
time.
hell was that?
It's fine.
They started off a little slow. They was able to, they wasn't able to get a consistent offensive game going. And then J.K. Dobbins, he started to get it going. You saw Justin Herbert started to make some plays. But defensively, they started to make plays. And I think that was the most important part. I mean, I know they played Gardner Minshew. But at the same time, you do have to make plays like you mentioned. You do have to still do a job. So shout out to the Chargers for getting that W.
Baby.
Huh?
Bolt up.
What's that mean? Oh, bolt up. You said, you're here?
Was this an impressive performance?
Like the
Chargers?
Chargers?
No.
Defensively and the rushing offense, 100% it was. Yes.
Outside of the big JK, like he had like
Running.
70. It was the rushing offense was that good.
And
well,
they did
JK
score.
JK was great on the ground.
No, he's amazing.
Yeah, 10 carries, 100 yards.
No, I think he had one big like 70-yard
No,
game.
he
did.
did.
But
He
then
was cooking.
the others, he was still relatively efficient, like 4 carries.
Was he?
He had
I may be tweaking.
I said 10 carries for 135. He
Yes.
had an
He had
average
13 and a
carry
half yards.
of 13 and a
Okay,
half.
okay, 'cause I
I
thought
just
I saw-
said, did I not speak this?
No, because when I was watching the game,
did
outside
have
of
a big carry,
the big like 60-yard bomb,
He had
he
a
wasn't really
touchdown
playing
run.
that well.
He had a couple good
Maybe I'm
rebounds.
tweaking.
It all happened in the second half.
What do you got?
Oh, no, I got one more.
Oh, my bad.
Okay,
I have a couple more too.
Oh.
Stone off guard. Toss me first.
no, just the one more guy I want to mention. Sam Darnold, 28-6.
Did he steal one of yours?
No, it's fine.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that's his guy.
I got a lot of.
Whoa,
Sam?
Yeah, that's your guy.
yeah, no,
I'm here.
No,
Oh.
yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
his guy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, my bad.
He
Sam
left.
Darnold's his guy.
Yeah, he left. I'm
Damn.
here.
Yeah.
he
When did that
left.
happen?
Oh no, you weren't there.
Where was I?
I don't know.
I think Texas.
I think you might have been in Florida.
Sam Darnold
maybe?
might not be my guy, but I was the one.
See, he knows.
One guy telling you guys that he owns the New York Giants. He's better than Daniel Jones.
He is. Hey,
You did
Daniel
say
Jones
that. You did
sucks.
say that. No, 19 for 24, 79%.
What I was just showing him
Did
on
you
my
just realize
phone.
that this was the
Daniel
game?
Jones stinks.
No,
What I,
he-
just, what I
game.
just showed him on my phone, since Daniel Jones signed his $160 million contract, he has thrown more touchdowns to the opposition than he has to New York Giants football.
He's terrible.
No, Daniel Jones is definitely
Giants
bad.
are cooked.
But Sam Darnold looked pretty great today.
He was
looked-
he was starting perfect.
He had 12
Just
for 12.
No,
Yeah.
he finished with like 80% completion.
Nah, he was
208,
OD.
2
It was
TDs.
all a lot of
He had a little ugly
short
interception,
stuff,
but
but-
yeah, no, listen, short, get it out quick. You got
Jettis
Addison.
got a TD?
You got Jett. No, I needed that. I needed that
Addison
bad.
got hurt, though.
Yeah, he did. He 10 receptions, 10 targets, 5 receptions. But
Yeah, Tay had him.
who?
Tay Banks.
Right. Darnold was just doing a lot of the easy stuff, just dunking it out to the short guys, getting it out on the outside, have Addison, have Jettis, just playing a perfect game plan and when you don't do anything extra,
Welcome
you
to
don't
the
do
Aiden
anything out the game plan. Yep,
O'Connell experience,
beautiful. You just chill, make the right play, make the first read. If the first read is not there, go to the quick second read. It's not there. You figure it out. You throw it to the little running back on the side. But I thought Sam Darnold was pretty good against a Giants defense that we all thought would be better than what they
Where was
showed.
the pass rush?
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
was this?
I-
It
This
started off
vaunted-
awesome.
This vaunted
The first
No, they
First
started
couple
off great.
drives were good.
And then as the
Fell
offense
off a
couldn't
cliff.
score, defense just like, bro, we're tired. Help us. We're tired. And then Giants offense said, we can't. We have Daniel Jones. And
Let me
Malik
ask
Davis
you-
said it after. He was just like,
That offensive line
I'm
still
getting over it.
It's still bad, but so is Daniel.
Malik said he was
He's
getting
terrible.
over it. He don't know. He
But
said,
that
"I'm getting
offensive
over it."
line is still fucking terrible.
Let me see
Jones
Drew
is-
Lock.
That's not going to take
Over under
long
week
for
3.5.
him to get benched.
No,
Daniel Jones or Bo Nix?
Daniel Jones.
I'm gonna
probably.
take the upside on Bo Nix.
Yeah,
We'll see.
probably.
The upside is cooked on.
So what happened? This was the epiphany game for you that Daniel Jones actually is not good.
It was an opportunity for him to play well. He
What
played
Charles
shit.
say?
Charles, I had to text him. I told him straight up. I said, bro,
It's over.
I'm done. I'm not rooting for him. I only would want him to do well for you. I'm not rooting for him anymore. I'm not a fan of him anymore. I'm done. He's terrible.
Took a
The
Vikings game to
Giants
figure it
are
out.
terrible. This was a winnable game at home.
I agree.
And you played as
Piss poor as
as
you could.
terrible as you possibly could.
Bro, say he's not cutting his beard.
I'm counting.
He looks good. That might be the only positive about Daniel Jones right now.
Kay Adams wants to date him. It's a
Why?
W.
And if Kay Adams wants you, you're doing something right.
What is he doing right? He must have
Yeah,
a big.
Growing
he
the
has
beard.
160
That's it.
mil.
No, he
Well,
must
it's
have-
not really like
he
80
must have a-
guaranteed.
80
no.
mil.
I'm
80
counting the
still
years:
decent.
2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022,
Dells, I'm telling you.
2023. 20... This is what Daniel Jones' sixth season.
I think it is
fine.
six.
That's right.
I think it is 6.
Damn,
Whatever,
he's
either
been here
way.
that long?
Yes.
Well, he's
Something
saying he got an extension.
So
And
like
it's been
5.
Year 2 of the extension. So
Shit.
My
Listen,
God,
2022 will forever be in our hearts.
Your
It
heart.
was awesome.
I forgot about it.
We're done.
That was against the Vikings.
I know.
Playoffs, and look
I
what
know.
you did.
Full epiphany moment.
So in
Vikings knew what they had to do this time around.
in
They
talking
didn't
about
even have to
Daniel
do
Jones,
shit, really.
I want to mention this. Joe Shane came to the Giants with Brian Dable. We know how bad Daniel Jones is.
Yes.
We don't have to get too into that. 2 top 7 picks, Joe Shane blew. He didn't draft good players. Evan Neal was a bust. And I think this tweet that I'm reading, the other top 7 pick, is he talking about Kayvon Thibodeau?
KT?
Is that the blown pick that
Who?
we're
Who
talking
else
about?
said that?
How many top picks has Joe Shane had? Who have been the top picks for the Giants? Evan Neal has been one.
did he draft Andrew Thomas? I don't think
I
so.
don't know.
I don't
No,
think
he didn't. He didn't.
Kayvon, Malik this year.
KT wasn't a blown pick.
He's
Well, they
definitely
were
not a game
in
changer.
2022. They were a late pick because they made the playoffs, won a game.
Deontay
mentioned
Banks, I
Evan-
don't think is a blown pick.
No, Tay Banks has been a
I think it's just been
awesome
Evan
pick.
Neal and Kayvon.
Yeah.
same year.
You know, Evan Neal and Madden looks exactly like Michael Parsons.
The only bad pick that he's had objectively horrendous is Evan Neal.
yeah.
And even then, at the moment, you were supposedly getting the best O lineman in the draft. It's the Giants just have
Unfortunate.
the worst fucking luck when it comes to O linemen.
Or you just don't scout
outside
well.
of Andrew Thomas. Fair, but Charles Cross not that good. Ike Ekwonu has not been that good. There's been no great offensive linemen in those top 3. So either which way you shook it,
He was gonna fuck
you
up.
were getting a fucking miss.
They're still starting though. Evan Neal's like
Evan Neal's
cooking.
definitely the worst.
You're cooking. Oh,
Definitely
easily. Which fair. You probably would have liked at least someone that's
If I'm
startable.
being honest, if the Giants drafted George Karlaftis, that's better than Kayvon Thibodeau.
Why?
Because I think George Karlaftis is a better player.
Can you just stop with this KT hate? Like,
KT's not good.
What?
He's
Why?
average.
How do you do today?
He's
Any
I, don't even-
pressures?
I know. I mean, he
Brother,
basically
the whole
had no
team
pressure.
didn't
I
do
know
good today.
Sexy-
Except Dexter.
This
I
is
know
about,
Sexy got a sack in the first.
This is
Dexter's
about Joe
Dexter.
Shane. Joe Shane, he's missing in the draft, at the top of the draft at least, but that's not what he deserves the most blame for. Joe Shane came to the organization. Daniel Jones had one good year that was probably below average, 15 passing touchdowns, and it was a breakout year
Can you mention? Why don't you mention the rushing?
because it doesn't move me at all.
800
You're a quarterback.
rushing
You're
is-
passing the ball. 15 passing touchdowns. That's
Come on.
nothing.
Looks like Brian Burns had one.
So what if
pressure,
you add
gave
the
on
rushing
one
touchdowns?
quarterback
It's
hit.
22
yes.
touchdowns total.
Yeah.
That's a breakout season. 22 total touchdowns.
no, but considering
This
situation,
total touchdown shit. We love getting into this debate, man.
love-
That's
It's not a
We
debate.
love
I
running
just like you
quarterbacks.
guys
We
just
have
say
to do it.
15, but again, rush for 800 in the playoffs.
Derek
and
Carr
regular
averages that
season.
passing in a season.
That was all our quarterbacks
Over
are running
22
Yeah, okay.
touchdown
love
passes.
it.
Derek Carr for a while was a very respectable starter.
Fucking garbage now.
Joe Shane committed $40 million a year to Daniel Jones, a decision that he should have never made. In that same breath, Xavier McKinney, one of the best safeties in the NFL, he leaves.
Agreed.
He doesn't re-sign him.
Terrible.
Saquon Barkley, he leaves, one of the best
Thank
running
you.
backs in the NFL. And then you trade draft capital for Brian Burns when you're clearly in a rebuilding phase of your team and you should be accumulating draft capital.
And they paid
the,
him.
the Giants right now, it is safe to say they are in no man's land.
Let me also help your point. You mentioned how you let McKinney walk. What did he have on Friday night? A
Nice little pick.
What did Saquon Barkley do on
three
Friday night?
tutties.
Outscored
Three
the
tubs.
Giants by like fucking 3 times.
By himself. By himself.
3 tutties, man. Since T.O.
Week 1 already showed that Joe Shane should not have a job.
All right, who finishes with the worst record? The Panthers or the Giants?
Are we
Panthers.
throwing the Broncos in here?
Or you think same tier?
I don't. Yeah, low key.
I'm going with the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers suck.
Our defense.
The Panthers
showed
are
out.
definitely objectively worse.
I think the Panthers, I mean, I don't know how a team can consistently mess up rebuilds like this. Like, there's a point in time that you just start accumulating talent just because you're drafting at the top of the draft. But the Panthers have missed the Bryce Young thing. Bryce Young is going to be a bust. I mean, the trade that they made to go
Caleb doesn't
get
look
Bryce
great.
Young. No, he didn't look great, but you gave them DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Tyreek
The Bears
Stevenson.
still have
DJ Moore looked like
the Bears
shit
have a
today, too.
second round pick this year from the
They're gonna
Panthers
cut.
still.
They're gonna cut.
But then not only that,
DJ Moore looks like shit because of
Him.
all of the Panthers' best defensive players last year,
52.
Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, Frankie Louvu, they all are gone because you decided to invest in an offensive line. And I don't think that's inherently a bad decision, but you overpaid 2 average guards and you saw the Panthers, they were not able to run the ball
Robert
either.
Hunt.
Respect J.C. Horn.
Yo, he got fucking fried today.
Brother, he's still
Derek
dealing
Carr
with
goes
injury.
right to his face. I got 3 touchdowns on you.
That shit was funny.
dealing with
Yo.
Still
Who are
dealing
your
with injury.
standouts?
Yeah, listen, my spotlight players, I want to highlight running
Joe
backs.
Burrow.
You mentioned J.K. Dobbins, but I want to mention Ramondre Stevenson, who
My
had
guy.
25
Balled out.
carries,
I got so
120 yards for
Skill
a
position
touchdown.
players. They're so
Joe
good.
Mixon, 30
Joe
carries,
had a fucking day today.
159 yards in a touchdown. Kenneth Walker, 20 carries, 103 yards and
That
2
hurt.
total touchdowns. He played a great game. And then I want to get on to the defensive standouts. I think the dude that I really want to mention the most, and this is why I'm very high on the Cowboys defense this year, is I'm trying to pronounce the name right.
DeMarcus Lawrence?
DeMarvion Overshawn. DeMarvion Overshawn, the rookie that the Cowboys have today against the Browns, 11 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits. In the preseason, he flashed not only as somebody who can rush the passer, but as a great run defender. And that's something the Cowboys desperately needed. They lost Dan Quinn, their DC last year, who led them to consistent top defenses every single year and a lot of turnovers. But this Dallas Cowboys defense still has a ton of talent. And this rookie right here is going to be a star.
Is he number
back.
13? Am I thinking of...
Lock it in. This
Because
is
there was one guy, he looked fast as shit that he went and sacked Deshaun Watson, but I'm not sure if that was him.
September 9th, a 103. He is back on Dallas.
He never
no.
left.
He never left.
No, he did. No, he did. On the porch. He left.
You're right.
He
You're
left.
right. You're right.
Now he is back. Remember
He's number 13.
I thought so. Yeah, he made an insane play. My dad and I were watching. He goes, wait a minute. That can't be a back. That can't be a linebacker.
Joe Mixon
There's
was,
no way.
was cooking so much he took his gloves off and started talking shit to the opponent.
Well, I mean, Riv, you can say I'm back on the Cowboys. I told you they're winning the NFCs. They're the
You've
best
done
team in the
that
NFC.
repeatedly.
And when
But
they
you'll
face the
find
Eagles,
a
you're gonna
way.
see what's gonna happen.
No.
Playoff
Just
time.
Joel. All
They
I
can
ask,
win the whole thing.
Don't act like you didn't say this when it doesn't happen. That's all I ask.
Listen, I told Drew when we was watching the game, I said I don't know what's gonna happen, but there's one year that Dak Prescott's gonna have a great year and cement his legacy.
He had a great
'Cause
year
that's
last
how
year.
great Dak
He had a-
is.
he had
Now,
a
I'm talking about in the
career year last
playoffs.
year.
He's
Oh,
gonna have a
stop.
playoff.
Enough of that. Let it go.
I know it's
Playoff
gonna happen
Dak.
this year, but it's gonna happen one
Playoff
time.
Dak is
great.
like who? A playoff DeMar DeRozan?
I also wanted to mention some defenders. Gregory Rousseau against Cardinals had 3 sacks, career high 6 pressures, 1 strip
Those are my
sack,
dogs out
and
there.
Keon White. Now the Patriots, when they traded Matt Judon, everybody flipped out. Oh, the Patriots suck. They're so bad. But I liked it. You know, you trade an older pass rusher for some draft capital, and Keon White against the Bengals had 2.5 sacks, and he's somebody that last year really flashed as a rookie, and I think this year he can have a breakout.
Bengals
season for the
O-line
Pats.
still ass.
I don't think they're as bad as last year. They're probably still below average. though.
Bengals are just ass.
Yes.
The
Well, they're
Bengals
not
might
ass.
be
They're not
ass.
You know, how about Dells? How about you? Just don't worry about the Bengals and what Joe Burrow's doing.
What
Joe
do I gotta
Shiesty.
worry about?
Don't worry about
At
it.
least regular season,
Don't
I know
worry about
Baltimore's
it.
going to
Now,
show up.
do you have more player spotlights?
Two I want to shout out. One we just watched. Cooper Kupp, 21 targets, had an insane day. It was a lot of short underneath stuff. Nothing really over the top outside of like one, maybe like
one
15 or
big
20
play.
yard catch. But Puka Nacua went down with an injury. It's a knee injury. I don't know if it's the same one he was dealing with in training camp, but if it's just Cooper Kupp out there, we're probably going to see another 20 target game. Another one, Brian Thomas Jr. had a big game for the Jaguars. He had a touchdown. He also had another play where he beat Jalen Ramsey one-on-one down the field. Probably would have been a touchdown if it was a better throw from from Trevor Lawrence. Jalen Ramsey ends up interfering him to get the ball on the 1 yard line. But Jaguars need a breakout wide receiver 1. Of course, they signed Gabe Davis, but Brian Thomas Jr. had a really good day in his debut.
Keon Coleman also had a good game.
He did have, he
led the Bills
team.
in receiving yards.
Yep, led the
They
team.
had a little
did.
sharing the sugar vibe, you know?
Yes, they did.
Everybody was good. Ooh, I had to ask you a question. God damn it. It was a funny one.
I'll say this also. I'm making a statement now. I'm going to play into your hands a little bit. All right? I'm just letting it be known right now. I won't talk about Tua until December. I'm making it my word.
Oh,
I won't say a lick about the Dolphins.
But if I want to talk about Tua,
Then that would be your prerogative.
he won.
I won't say a word. I'll play into your hand. That's cool with me.
Steelers won.
If you say September doesn't move you, if he plays well, you don't care. If he plays bad, you'll talk about him. That's cool with
That
me.
shit was hilarious.
No, it was funny to y'all. But I won't talk about him until December because it's fair. Because he's going to play amazing in September, in October, November, maybe half of it, and then we really
Whenever it
start to
starts
see in
getting chilly
December.
is when he starts.
I will
brisk.
play into the hand because today was
It's getting a little cold early.
a pretty good comeback victory, truthfully. A gag job by the Jaguars. But again, I will level and I will wait to talk about Tua Tagovailoa this season.
One thing about me, man, I respect hate. Like, I love hate. When
You're a weird dude.
When someone has like a straight up like I'm gonna hate no matter what happens, I respect the fuck out of that.
I know,
People
I
like
tried
you
to hate
actually give me a stomach ache,
like,
and I hate
I
you.
Like
tried
you
to hate
really
on air, I
stand there and be
couldn't
like,
do it. I
I
couldn't do it.
hate on. I respect that.
it's because
Am
not
I about to be a
everything-
Joel Dells hater?
Nothing.
Should I do that?
I think you
I would-
should.
You know what?
You should
Respect
hate
it.
him just because he
I
is
would
you.
respect
You know
that.
what?
And now,
I've been
you know
telling
what,
you
Riv,
this,
and
bro.
I want to apologize to
Like,
you
I keep this
because
guy,
you've been on the
I hate
wave.
him. I've
There's
been
something
hating
about
him.
him that's really rubbing me the wrong way
I-
right
I
now.
said- to my
I
stomach.
prefer I know where you stand
He
on
knows where
something
I
than like
stand.
I hate him, I love him. I hate him, I love him.
If there's one thing about me, I wear my heart on my fucking sleeve.
I hate that guy.
Something
man.
about you though right
makes
now.
me,
Oh,
makes my skin crawl.
it's
I hate him.
disgusting.
Like, I want him.
What specifically?
You know, I think what it all boggles down to is that you don't change your opinion when you have an overwhelming amount of evidence of what is true.
Again, I'm waiting to talk.
And
Because
John,
after September,
please, if you're
after
listening to
today,
us,
there's
He
not much
better
for me
be.
to say.
put up the lower third of the NFL Pick'em update because we will give our Pick'em updates. Right now, Riv is in the lead.
Riv's in the lead.
Riv has 12 correct picks. He's 12-3 on the
Possibly
week.
13.
And tomorrow's games, we got the Jets. You
Yes.
guys got the Niners?
Yeah.
All right. John's got the Niners too.
Drew has
John's
11
cooked.
wins.
Pick
Me
the
and
fucking
Dels have
Panthers.
10, and John also has
Yes, Santos
10
eat
wins.
shit.
So
Because I
wait,
started 0-2
say
and I'm
that.
back.
Wait, say
Oh.
that. Hold on. Say that quote because what you just said was fire, and I want you to repeat it. When you have an
when you have an overwhelming amount of evidence proving
Yes.
for something to be true, you don't change your stance on that.
And I love that because you hate on the Steelers and they have this overwhelming evidence of
Holy
winning
shit.
a shit ton of good ass games
In the regular season.
Yet you still believe they're gonna crumble. And then Dallas, they have this
my God.
overwhelming
Oh my
evidence
God.
of not winning playoff games and not going to the Super Bowl. Yet and still you find a
idiots.
way
Cooking.
to pick them every single
Cooking.
year. Why do you keep doing that?
I'm able to believe whatever I want. That's why.
Yeah.
And the Steelers,
Riv, man, you really are a special talent.
and the Steelers,
These two guys,
yes,
man. Hate him.
they do
Can't
win
stand it.
one score victories, and right now,
Another
early
one
in the
today.
season,
Falcons.
Another
they
one
just beat
today.
them. They're 1-0 in the season.
Again.
Adding to his 70% win percentage.
We back. John,
I don't
I'm with
care
you.
about the Steelers, man. I don't. We all know that they might win these games, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The
thing is, it really doesn't
not
matter.
It doesn't matter.
Well, it matters for like your bet and shit, but like in the grand scheme of the NFL, it doesn't.
How can a
matter.
team that doesn't make the playoffs in 11 years say that?
My Lord,
been
have
14.
mercy.
You make it
14.
worse than the number I say. I
Well, I
only
wanna
say
be-
like
I
10,
wanna be
11.
truthful.
Oh, all right, 14.
2010 just says it's such a round number. It's easy, you know.
I don't even
It's like
remember. I don't
2008
remember the
or
exact.
something.
I just
It's
remember
like-
it's
it's like
double
16.
digit
Rev,
years.
do you
Talk
think
to
it's fine to be the mid 2010s Atlanta Hawks,
as
that what you
opposed
want- is that what you
to
wanna
the
be?
Sacramento Kings? Yes.
as opposed to what's a team that was in dumps that
Sacramento
now
Kings?
Big three Nets.
is
Like the Hornets,
the
I'm
Sacramento
talking about
Kings.
like
Eastern
that came
Conference.
up?
Yes.
like
the
the
Toronto
Magic?
Raptors kind of came
Okay,
up, right?
sure.
Yeah.
Nah, they've been good for like 6 straight years.
But they came up at a certain
not
time. They
them.
were bad.
I
And-
promise you,
and
you're
Are
not
you,
them.
are you trying to
say
compare
Philly?
the Jets
the New
to a
York
team?
Knicks, we
definitely-
came up.
you're not the
Actually, the
Jets.
Knicks are actually the perfect example.
Last
Sure.
stock for
Yes.
a while, then
the Knicks have
The
never
Knicks are a
turned it
team
around.
that
You have
for
like
my
two-
entire life were terrible, and now
Yes.
we
You
are
have like two
functional
playoff
and we have a real
shit.
shot.
Yes. Okay. So would I rather be the Knicks now
Or the Hawks.
or the Hawks of 2010?
That's the easy.
Easy.
answer.
The Knicks now. Yeah.
Listen, and now it's the Jets' time to shine. It's simple as
You're
that.
hoping and
I mean,
praying.
yes, the Steelers may
We're
have
undefeated
had
right now.
consistent winning
You're also-
seasons, all this
you're
other
lost.
stuff. But guess what? In the last 6 years, what team has more of a chance to actually be a contender? The Jets this year that are healthy, or the Steelers that have last 6 years?
You know
That's
what? I
an
can
easy
understand the
answer.
bitterness that is the last time they were in the playoffs were ironically the Pittsburgh Steelers who kicked them out.
they lost in the Super Bowl. It shit don't move me.
Nothing moves you guys when it matters. Like okay. I mean,
No, because
listen,
they've
I'd rather
seen
be the
multiple
Jets.
championships this.
I'd rather be the
this,
Jets than,
this century.
You
Like,
stay down so you come up.
I'd rather be the Jets than
It's
like
as simple as
95%
that.
of the teams in the league.
And it's
honestly.
some teams that they don't know how to stay down until they come up. The Steelers are just staying
Stuck
at
in
the bus stop.
purgatory.
You guys weren't staying down on purpose. Y'all were just ass.
Y'all missed the train hella times.
Not OD.
Okay.
You guys were just ass.
And guess
Like,
what?
Uber was late.
And guess what? And guess what? We still got to the destination faster than the Steelers. We built a contender faster than the Steelers.
I mean, wasn't the
in
Steelers just in the
6
AFC
years.
Championship game in like 5
I
years
want to
ago?
say just.
No,
How long ago?
2017
8
with the
years ago.
Jaguars, I think.
I'm gonna say this:
yeah, that
the
wasn't
Steelers
bad.
defense has a chance to give y'all a run for your money this year on best
the defense
defense.
can be elite for
that
sure.
shit is OD.
When talking about these NFL pick'em updates, I have 10 wins, and this is where I'll talk about the Jaguars and Dolphins briefly. I mean, they had a 90% chance to win the game if Travis Etienne
92.
doesn't fumble. 92%
Sorry,
chance.
I already said too much.
If Travis Etienne doesn't fumble, and that was honestly heartbreaking. I lost on that because I picked the Jaguars to upset the Dolphins. I picked the Titans to upset the Bears, and that was also another comeback. The Bengals, obviously, to beat the Patriots, and we all picked that. We all lost on that. The Steelers beat the Falcons 18-10, and I lost the Packers versus the Eagles. The only ones I'm really mad
Say
about
that last one again?
The what?
Say that last one one more time.
I didn't hear you.
Just
Huh?
say the
What
last
what
one.
did I
Which
say?
one did you lose?
I completely
What was
forgot.
it? The Friday
No,
night game?
I
What was the
forgot
Friday
about
night
it.
game, Drew?
I believe that was the Eagles and
What's it?
Pack-
do you know
Pack- was
the
it-
Friday?
I do believe it was those Pack boys.
Did you
Jordan
face
Love.
a team from Brazil, or do they have a football team now?
Oh my God.
We were both in Brazil.
All right, guys.
Actually, you were the home team.
I have something to say. I vow for the rest of the season to not pick against the Kansas City Chiefs. I vow, because I want to win, I will go rest of the season, 16 games, Kansas City Chiefs.
Ravens wasn't a bad pick.
No, but I'll be damned if I lose another Chiefs game for the rest of the year. And if I lose, I'm going to be the jinx, because apparently that's a real thing. I'm picking them every single game. I'm just letting it be known.
We got some super chat. Oh, you want to talk
Yes.
more about the game? Sorry.
No, we could.
All right,
get
my
some
last
super
pick.
chats.
Giants. I vow
Never pick
To
the
not
Giants.
pick them
I'm
the
with
rest
you.
of the season.
Well, this
never
might be the only
again.
game I would have picked them.
What about against the Commanders?
I think I might be the Giants.
I will be taking the Commanders
both times.
both times.
You know, Daniel Jones has a great record against the Commanders.
And I'll be
Eat against
transparent.
Commanders.
He's dead to me. I do not care. I'm done. Giants fans, I will love you to the day I die. However, that team, I don't know how you root for it. It's horrible.
Wait, question, Drew. So you're off Daniel Jones now.
Done.
You kind of gave Caleb Williams bad juju
Maybe.
with the first game of the season. Maybe let Dales hold the jersey or Riv, and maybe that's their guy. I don't know.
Again, I'm not allowed to talk about the tribal chief until December. I'll be quiet. He has vindicated me multiple times. I'll be
Roman
quiet.
Reigns plays football.
As a Chicago fan, we did give Drew the honorary Caleb pat.
You better hope that doesn't ruin Caleb.
I have the DJ Moore
Okay,
pat. He has the
so
That's
you're
right. You
off-
better be careful because you've been using a lot of words and you're coming off rambunctious when it comes to talking about Caleb.
Ooh.
I won't air it out. We'll wait.
You're off Daniel Jones. What about Bryce Young?
Are you still locked in?
That's another
The
one.
breakout player.
I'm gonna
that you
wait.
had.
Okay.
Saints, they moved me a little bit today. I'm gonna be transparent.
How many weeks does Bryce get?
I'm gonna give him the same number I'm giving to Sean. I'm giving him 5 weeks. Give me
I
5
feel like he
weeks.
deserves a little more than that.
But you can cook up in 5 weeks. In
If,
5
if
games,
you're not
that's a
good
good sample
in a year and
size.
5 weeks, you're probably never going to be good.
OD.
What about Bo Nix? What's the leash for him?
Bo Nix gets the whole season.
Damn.
Okay.
How long did it take Trevor Lawrence to be nice?
Year 2.
A year.
Year two, what, like
a
in the
year and a
middle?
half. He's kind of right.
Yeah.
Trav got like a
Year and a half.
Trevor Lawrence was
I'm not saying him and Bryce are
Generational.
the-
such a
Generational.
different
I'm not saying him and
prospect.
Bryce are the same vibe. Just, you know, you get
So far from.
Now, Drew, if you are on the Pick a Side channel right now on YouTube, I'm gonna have John put up the super chats, and then you can read it
I'll
on your
happily do
phone,
that.
and then we can get out of here.
I told this guy to send me them, and he did. So here we
definitely
go. Shout out to Santos. He says we have
Santos.
a new curse, and it's called Drew's QB curse. That's fair. And I was talking to y'all about this. Quarterbacks, I haven't had the best track record, but damn it, those skill position players and we've had a good relationship. I will take that the quarterbacks and I haven't been friendly. However, we move. Next one. Shout out to Booty Liquor 2000.
Tough.
He says Joel and Drew mid off on Twitter was hilarious.
That
We
shit
cooked
was
up.
funny.
We did.
We cooked up. We had a nice back and forth
That shit
there,
had me
and I got
crying.
you at the end.
Fucking Will Levis.
Mason L. I don't want to butcher his last name. Shout out for the donation. He said everyone's fave week 1 play / moment. Much love, pick aside. My favorite moment of the week, was a certain guy coming back against the Jaguars. That was really awesome.
Mine was the Saquon passing touchdown in the end zone. The one Hurts threw it over.
Mine was when watching the film back of the Eagles and the Packers, Jalen Hurts' first interception that he threw. It was such an unbelievable play from Xavier McKinney. He came all the way from the weak side. He was covering the whole shot to the sideline, the scene where Devontae Smith was, and he had to travel so much
fucking
ground
serious?
on the
You
field.
couldn't find nothing better?
Remember when he said that he was done? When he was done talking about the Eagles
I
and
don't
Packers
think
game?
you didn't watch the McKinney play like in the all
And
22
you,
version.
and you didn't watch the Nick Foles Super Bowl because you've never watched the Super Bowl because your team has never made it in your
Oh
life.
my God.
What does that mean? You said I didn't watch it. Yes, I watched that Super Bowl. What are you talking
It
about?
was an irrelevant statement, but it kind of hit.
McKinney literally came from. You
couldn't find anything better?
This is the
He
no.
baited
It
him.
was
That was
honestly
the
one of the
best
best plays of the
moment?
game.
That was the best moment?
That was one of the best plays of the week.
It was an amazing
defensive plays.
play.
It was
It was
probably the
amazing
best
play.
defensive
You
play of
told
the
us you
week.
didn't watch the game.
I'm actually-
You don't remember the game.
Now the
Oh,
offensive,
now it's coming back to
coming back.
only the
Certain-
bad only,
certain moments
only the bad
are
Eagles
coming
moments
back.
I remember. Now Jackson McIntyre, my co-host for the Weekly Blitz, we're gonna do a film breakdown on
Shout out
this
to
play
the Weekly
because
Blitz.
Xavier McKinney literally. Jalen Hurts was throwing this against Tampa too. Quay Walker was with AJ step for step. It was a bad throw regardless, and a bad read regardless. But this was the middle. McKinney came from all the way over here
That was Smitty.
and intercepted
That wasn't
the ball.
AJ. That was Smitty.
It was Smitty, yeah.
That was the Smitty one.
So maybe he
In the
did
middle of
watch
the
the all
field?
Yeah,
22.
the one in the
It was
end zone
Smitty.
was AJ.
Yo, you were
Facts.
watching your film? Talk your shit.
I just know my team. That was Smitty because Smitty was playing linebacker.
That's not true. It was AJ Brown.
No, that was Smitty.
Now,
I'm
100%
like
it was AJ Brown.
90%
telling
sure
you,
it was
AJ,
Smitty.
no, the first interception, the target,
Yeah,
the target was
I thought the first
no, the
interception
target
was to AJ.
The target
No, it
was
was
to
Smitty.
AJ Brown. No, it was
I'm
not.
telling you, that was Smitty.
No, you want to bet?
No, I don't want to bet. I think.
No,
I'm
it
pretty
was.
sure it's
I'm
Smitty.
no.
Dell's gonna
because-
look it up.
And McKinney covered Smitty.
Look it up while I
No, I
read
don't think
these
no
super
because
chats.
Smitty was playing in the slide.
Actually, share your favorite pick aside moment. Or favorite week 1 moment.
Outside of Anthony Richardson touchdown, it has to be that last Ramondre Stevenson run where he's running dudes over, ice the game to beat the Bengals. That was nuts.
Ramondre Stevenson, that is my brother.
Look it up. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure Smitty was in the slot because he played a lot in the slot that game.
All right. Attitude Pop.
It was indeed Smitty.
It was Smitty. Okay, cool. Attitude Pop the third says, y'all can't be seen serious. That O-line was so bad, his
Talking about
receivers
Deshaun.
were getting clamped and dropping passes. He was the only one trying. No QB can play well with that trash O-line. Y'all eyes are bad.
What's his name?
Attitude Pop.
Give it up.
Joel said this in the past. If you have to defend your franchise quarterback and say everything else is wrong except him, it's probably him.
100%. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Because Smitty played in the slot a lot
Yes,
that game.
but Xavier McKinney came all the way from the sideline to
It's
make that
incredible
play,
play.
an
Crazy ass
interception.
play. Did you talk about that Reed Blankenship interception though?
That shit moved me.
Oh, you didn't care?
Luke Musgrave just didn't go to the ball enough.
Can't get a
Again,
break with
there's
this guy.
always-
This fucking dude with the
Oh,
shot.
yeah, I can't get a break with this guy.
Cody Lee, shout out to the donation, says,
That's Cody.
People really thought the Giants were going to win. Daniel Jones stinks. Hashtag skull. Talk your shit.
He's correct.
Daniel Guerrero says, Joel, it's funny that after one game you were calling Bo Nix a bust, but when your boy Zach was historically bad in 2022, you kept giving him a pass.
Yeah, and I should have called Zach Wilson a bust earlier. Zach Wilson also had a great game against the Titans, which was one of the greatest moments as a Jets fan I've watched.
Yeah, I remember
watching the
you
Jets.
crying tears of joy.
I feel like you knew deep down he was a bust, but you
Bo
wanted
Nix
him
will probably
to
have
succeed.
moments, a game like
No,
that.
but this was like Zach Wilson was one of the biggest busts of all time, and he didn't have a debut as terrible as this. Bo Nix is going to be a bust. It's as simple as that.
Did
and if you think
Zach
it's
Wilson score in his debut?
yeah, he did.
Actually?
Yeah, to the Panthers. That was week 1. He did
Oh,
score a
you got
touchdown.
to play the luxury of playing the Panthers?
No, the Panthers actually weren't bad that year. Actually,
What year was that?
2021.
Darnold.
Yeah, it was the first.
They
Darnold
weren't
year.
great.
No, but they
Oh,
still
so
had
you
a
guys
really
lost.
good defense.
It was
Yeah, we
solid.
did. We did lose
Ah,
that game.
damn.
Yeah, didn't you lose too?
Motherfuckers, man.
No, but honestly, listen, I know people are going to say it's an overreaction. That's fine. I mean, I've had some great success when I've overreacted to the Broncos, like Nate Hackett getting fired 1 year,
You did have a moment
one and
there.
done, and Russell
You
Wilson
thought
not
our
being good
defense was
anymore.
going to be
You
bad. to be
dated
fair.
Hackett.
You thought
Yeah.
our defense was going to be bad. You didn't think the offense would, which was fair. Nobody
Yeah,
thought
but
we'd
after
be bad
week 1, I
offense.
said Nate Hackett's going to be one and done. Russell Wilson's not a good quarterback, and you can say it's an overreaction, but I think when you are a 5-year starter in college, you should play better in your debut. And the fact that he had almost 5 to 6 interceptable passes is very alarming, and it doesn't give me any optimism for the future when one of the main struggles for him out of college is he doesn't throw past the sticks.
Even though McDonald's a great defensive play caller. We don't get that pass?
No.
We don't get that
Who do you play
love-
next week?
Off the top of the dome, I can't remember.
I can tell you right now.
I really don't remember off the
They
top
play
of
the
my head.
Steelers.
Keep going. Oh,
It is.
It
the
won't
Steelers.
get better.
He's right.
God bless
I
you,
forgot
brother.
because we had this conversation upstairs saying they spent 35 picks.
Yeah, brother, it won't get better.
No, I'm
But after that,
terrified.
oh, Tampa Bay. But after the Jets, you're fucked.
Tampa Bay is doable.
After that's the Jets.
Jets, no, done. Read it
at
to me.
New York.
We play the
got-
Broncos every single year. God
I know.
damn.
I'm not going to the game. I thought
But then
about
you
it. I
got
swear.
Raiders, Chargers.
No, we're cooked. Chargers.
Then the Saints. Ooh, yeah, he's
Jeez.
not.
My God.
He's fucked. He might not make it to week 8.
All right. Well, Bo Nix, it was nice having you. As my
Jared
quarterback.
Stidham or Zach Wilson? Who's it going to be?
Give Zach Wilson a chance, please.
Oh, heavens. What's the next super chat, man?
I think that's it.
That's it.
Oh,
That's the
all we
last
got.
one. Yep. And thank you guys for watching. We'll
Bills
see you
Park so
guys
far.
on Tuesday. That's the next time we're dropping our episode. We're recording in the studio. Thank you for coming to the live stream, and we'll see you guys next time.